Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 2. I am Uyaya Nyekan, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiako, and let's take a look at the headlines. Of emoluments by Akwa Ibom State Government. Federal government spends 24 billion naira to alleviate poverty in Sokoto. Plus, U.S. President Joe Biden signs climate, tax and health bill into law. We'll have details of these stories and more in a moment. Please off this distraction, I beg. Our news this afternoon with a report that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Rear Admiral Yaminu Enoman Musa as the pioneer coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC. The NCTC is established in the Office of the National Security Advisor as the coordinating body for the harmonization of all counter-terrorism and terrorism financing efforts in Nigeria. Musa had been the director of the Counter-Terrorism Directorate since 2017. He was responsible for the review of the National Counter-Terrorism Strategy NAC test and the creation of the policy framework and National Action Plan for Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism PCVE, which President Buhari signed into law in 2016 and 2017 respectively. The retired naval senior officer served as the Nigerian representative at the Global Counter-Terrorism Forum GCTF. His appointment is to take effect immediately and run for an initial term of 5 years. In the meantime, the Nigerian government has spent 24 billion naira on different empowerment and poverty reduction schemes on its National Social Investment Program, NSIP, in Sokoto State. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Haji Sadiya Farouk, made this known at the inauguration of the disbursement of cash grant to vulnerable groups, GVG. In the state, Farouk, represented by the National Coordinator of the NSIP, Dr. Umar Bindi, said ITR is the intention of President Muhammad's have been implemented in close partnerships with the state governments as a clear demonstration of a collective commitment to address poverty. In another development, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adeni Adebayo, has inaugurated an interministerial standing committee to oversee the implementation of a memo on the promotion of agri-based business in Nigeria through right farm gate pricing and ban of foreigners from purchasing agricultural commodities at the farm gates. The memo was earlier approved by the Federal Executive Council FEC after its joint presentation on March 9th by the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and the Federal Ministry of Environment for the commodities subsector to thrive. The minister said the memo specifically seeks to address challenges impeding the development of the agricultural commodities subsector of the economy, while curtailing unfair trade malpractices and exploitation of Nigerian farmers in the subsector. We move now to education, where the meeting between the academy met with the representatives of ASU at the headquarters of the National Universities Commission and appealed of their proposal. Also confirming the development, a member of the ASU National Executive Committee, who asked not to be Bengal, said that the Minister of Education will soon brief the developments from a new trading scheme in the United Kingdom that will cut price tariffs on hundreds of everyday products. Official launch of the developing countries trading scheme in Abuja. Speaking at the launch, the Secretary of State for International Trade, Anne-Marie, noted that the new scheme was to reduce the cost of living and help support economies of developing countries in the face of a global recession. Anne-Marie said that leading to more choice and lower costs for the UK consumers to help with the cost of living. Has dragged the national executives to court. The sanctions scribe filed by Mutala Abdul Rashid, a senior AC, on the 15th of August. The litigant in sin asked the court to determine whether the 3rd to 11th defendants have the power to suspend the plaintiff from the office. Ottawa also cited sections 239, 242, and 288 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and the Constitution of the Nigerian Bar Association 2015 as amended in 2021. It asked the court to declare the resolution of the NBA emergency meeting null, void, illegal, and unconstitutional. In a separate development, the chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Sam Ohuabua, has urged the party's national chairman, Iyorochia Ayu, to resign if it will end the enmity between former Vice President Abubakar and the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. Ayu has reportedly agreed to resign, having been elected as the party's chairman. Ayu is expected to honor his word and depart the seat for a southerner as part of efforts to massage zoning considerations within the party. Recall that Atiku had defeated Wike in the PDP presidential primaries and passed him over for the post of vice presidential candidate. The latter is believed to be key to the party's success in next year's presidential elections. In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has approved the redeployment of some of its resident electoral commissioners, RECs, as part of the preparations for the 2023 general elections and posting of staff. The redeployment was announced in a statement issued by the INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman for Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, in Abuja. Okoye said the redeployment and posting, affecting 385 staff nationwide, is a routine exercise which will continue from time to time. According to Okoye, Dr. Cyril Omorogbe, REC Cross River State, had been redeployed to REC Akwa Ibom State, while Dr. Olia Libo Johnson, REC Edo State, had been moved to Cross River State, amongst others. He further noted that the redeployment and posting will take immediate effect, while handling and taking over will be concluded on or before Friday, 26 August 2022. On preparations for this year's raining season, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has announced the prevailing weather pattern in Nigeria is going to cause above normal rainfall in about 19 states between August and October this year. The Director General NIMET, Mansour Matazu, told journalists at a press briefing in Abuja that above normal rainfall conditions were expected over the northern states such as Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, Kano, Jigawa, Yobe, Borno, Bauchi, much of Kebbi and Gombe, as well as northern Kaduna and Adamawa states. Normal to above normal rainfall conditions are expected over most parts of the southwestern states, including Lagos, Ogun, Osun, much of Oyo, Ondo, parts of Ekiti, and Edo. Matazu stated that the agency was aware of the recent devastations caused by heavy rainfall in some states, stressing that the high-intensity rainfall was due to the changing weather conditions as earlier predicted by NIMET, while explaining that the role of the agency is in flood management caused by heavy rains was to ensure continuous observation and monitoring of rainfall events across the country. The NIMET board said the states that are expected to experience varying degrees of flood episodes are advised to begin their awareness campaigns through field extension. Away from that, the National Emergency Management Agency ambulance services, it stated that the inaugural air ambulance return flight took place recently when the agency's aircraft airlifted some officials from Abuja to Jigawa State and back to the Federal Capital Territory. Recall that the then chief pilot and head of NEMA's Special Wing, Captain Ibrahim Maman, had stated that the project was part of the transition after it was due for routine maintenance and regulatory requirement. Meanwhile, the agency had said that following changes in leadership, the repair of the aircraft was completed last year and returned from the retired primary school teachers and their next of kin have again protested the non-payment of their emoluments by the Akwa Ibom State government's Governor Victor Otai and Godswill Akpabio, each paid 10 years, noted that the 1 billion naira recently released by the governor was not enough. He therefore appealed to the governor to rise to the occasion, like other state governors, to pay the entire.
Without receiving 2015, we have passed through so much, and it is time for him to take the responsibility and pay off this money. The government of Governor Atta paid 10 years, nothing less than 10 years.
Yes.
I've not even paid off.
And so we demand. And after knowing that the total indebtedness is 33 billion, he has just released only 1 billion.
Well, above what she
Is
said
that enough?
No!
How can you solve the problem of 33 billion? We ask
Borno State.
the governor
about what she
that
said
he should follow what the governor of Borno State is doing. He
Rivers
should
State.
follow what the governor of Rivers State is doing. And even the governor of Kaduna State. Borno State released
Same governor.
over 12 billion for the payment of this entitlement.
Worship center.
To Africa now, where the United Nations Mine Action Service UNMAS says it has cleared 25 anti-personnel mines from Piggy County in South Sudan, making the area safe to inhabit. Visited Canal in Piggy County to get a first-hand account of the people living there. She said the agency was responsible for about 75% of mine action, demining activities in South Sudan. UNMAS is an integral component of UNMISS, mandated under Security Council Resolution 2567-2021. It's in assistance supporting the implementation of the revitalized agreement and the peace process, and monitoring and investigating human rights. Meanwhile, more than 1 million explosive items have been found and destroyed in South. Still in Africa, the Electoral Authority has set the final result of a count of votes in favor. The referendum came a year to the day after Said sacked the government and froze parliament in what rivals have branded overthrow of dictator Zine El Abidine. Ben Ali was welcomed by many Tunisians. Meanwhile, the new text puts the president. He can also present draft laws to Parliament, which will be obliged to give them priority with a second chamber. We move to the U.S., where President Joe Biden has signed a $700 billion bill that aims to fight climate change and healthcare costs while raising taxes mainly on the rich. The act includes measures to make good. The bill could provide a boost ahead of the midterm elections, as voters casting their ballots in November will decide whether Biden's domestic agenda. The package invests $375 billion to fight climate change, the most significant federal investment in history in the issue. The package also allows the government to negotiate lower prices for some prescription medicine provided under its Medicare health over the next decade.
Things that for so many years, so many of us have fought to make happen. And let's be clear. And this is vote, every single one. In fact, the big drug companies spent nearly $100 million on this bill. Every single Republican Congress voted against lowering prescription drug prices, against lowering health care costs, against the fair tax system cost, against creating good-paying jobs. My fellow Americans,
still on the foreign scene, voters in the U.S. state of Wyoming have ousted Congresswoman Liz Cheney, a rare Republican critic of former President Donald Trump, in a primary election. She has been beaten to impeach Trump after his supporters attacked the U.S. Capitol building in January last year, have been targeted in a scorched earth campaign of revenge. So far, 4 have retired. 4 have been defeated by his chosen candidates in primary ballots in the state of Wyoming, Washington, Michigan, and South Carolina, while only 2 have successfully maintained their places on the Republican ticket for re-election. Still to come in the news. Falconets seek maximum points against Canada. Thanks for staying tuned. Now to the rest of our news. On our business news, the Director General of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, Gerd Müller, has declared the organization's intention to put Africa at the center of its industrialization efforts to build on the continent's enormous potential. Müller made the declaration at the awards to honor President Andry Rajoelina of Madagascar as a champion for the third Industrial Development Decade for Africa, IDDA 3. The UNIDO chief lauded President Rajoelina's efforts to support industrialization through the Madagascar Emergence Plan, which aims to provide energy and water for all, digital and modernized agriculture as a path to sustainable growth of the country. Reports say the IDDA 3 Championship Initiative, awarded the select African heads of state, is aimed at leveraging high-level political leadership to champion the continent's industrialization. Still on our business news, official data has shown that British inflation surged to a new 40-year high in July on rising food prices, adding to a cost of living crisis as the country faces the prospect of recession. The Office of National Statistics said the consumer prices index accelerated to 10.1% last month from 9.4% in June, a 40-year record at the time. Reports say the Bank of England had earlier warned this month that inflation will climb to just over 13% this year, the highest level since 1980. It also projected that the country would enter a recession that would last until late 2023, with official data last week showing Britain's economy shrunk in the second quarter. In health, the Nigerian Medical Association (NBA) has said the nation's skyrocketing brain drain wave may culminate in the country, resulting to hiring medical doctors to treat local patients in the future. The NMA also warned that if urgent steps were not taken to fix the deteriorating situation, it may lead to a total collapse of the health system in the country. The Oyo State NMA Chairman Dr. Ayotunde Fasunla raised the alarm in Ibadan at the official opening of the 2022 scientific conference titled National Health Authority Act, the Soundbites. The body also called for a state of emergency in the health sector to holistically address the menace of pull and push factors responsible for the mass migration. Owned hospitals in the country was a factor. Still in health, President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated a 16-member Nigeria End Malaria Council with Aliko Dangote as chairman. He said the successful implementation of the council's agenda and savings from the estimated economic burden of the disease would save Nigeria about 687 billion naira in 2022 and 2 trillion by 2030. The concerted strategy to tackle malaria had both public health as well as socio-economic benefits for Nigeria. The president, who noted that malaria elimination with the age-long disease had remained a major public health challenge in Nigeria, as posted by the World Health Organization, reported 2021 on malaria. In sports, high-riding Nigeria will look to make it a perfect group phase campaign at the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup when they clash with Canada at the Estadio Alajuela Morero Soto in what would be the early hours of Thursday, 3 a.m. in Nigeria. Kickoffs in Alajuela would be 8 p.m. Costa Rica time on Wednesday. Riding high as the top team of Group C following 1-0 wins over France and Canada has thrown the Falconets into the harshest spot of the Clegg Lights. But head coach Chris Danjuma Musa says his girls have their feet firmly on the ground as they confront the North Americans for another 3 points. Canada, who hosted the tournament 8 years ago when Nigeria reached the final for the second time, losing by the odd goal to Germany after riding an impossibility wave after losing their first 2 games to Korea, Republic and France, with a disadvantage of 4 goals. With Nigeria already qualified, the battle for the second spot from Group C is a straight one between Korea, Republic and France, who play simultaneously at 3 a.m. Nigeria time at the Estadio Nikonal in San Jose. Both teams have 3 points each. Musa is certain to start with the girls who brought down the stubborn Koreans on Sunday night. Goalkeeper Omini Onyono showed improved composure and ball handling, and the skill and awareness of captain Oluwatosin Demain, Omowumi Oshobukola, Jumoke Alani and Rofiat Imoran is sustaining the two-time runners-up quite well at the back. Still in sports, the Remo Stars Social Football and Friends Club has stated that the Remo Stars Stadium Ikene Remo Ogun State is ready to host games of the Confederation of African Football Confederation Cup. The supporters club made this known during a media tour of the stadium facilities and noted that it had been the dream of the Remo Stars fans to see the club play a CAF club competition on home soil. Reports say the Remo Stars were drawn against the Moroccan side Asfar, who won the 2010 edition of the CAF Confederation Cup. The privately owned Nigerian club finished third in the 2021-2022 season of the Nigeria Professional Football League, the club's best finish since its founding. Matches in the first leg of the first preliminary rounds are expected to hold between September 9th and 11th, 2022, with the return game scheduled between September 16th and 18th. On our entertainment news, veteran entertainer and activist Charles Oputa, aka Charlie Boy, has slammed Kaduna Governor Nasir El-Rufai for his remark over the proposed 2 million man march for the Labour Party LP presidential candidate Peter Obi in the state. Recall that El-Rufai mocked supporters of Obi over a planned 2 million man march for their candidate in Kaduna. Reports say as a way of showing their strength ahead of the 2023 general election, supporters of Obi, popularly identified as Obedience, have been holding marches in state capitals. Still on entertainment, veteran actress Hilda Dokubo has said among other animals and insects that have been blamed for the disappearance of fawn, they await the participation of birds too. The thespian made the remark while reacting to the news that termites have eaten up some of the documents to justify 17.158 billion naira missing fawns. Recall that on Monday, the Senate Public Accounts Committee, SPAC, had put the current and past management of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, under scrutiny. The committee said it discovered that the fund's management failed to produce relevant documents to justify alleged spending of 17.158 billion in 2013, adding that the documents to back the expenses were said to have been eaten up by termites. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 2. I am Uyai Aniek, and thanks for watching, and do enjoy the rest of your day.